So, what's happened this week in politics? Elon Musk signed an open letter asking the government to ban AI along with a lot of other people. How important is AI and what difference will it make to our world and the world of politics? Yossi, what do you think?
So AI obviously stands for artificial intelligence. I have personally benefited from it.
What is artificial intelligence?
So I don't know exactly all the science of it, but basically they've developed a computer brain which can basically work things out, so to speak, on its own.
Yeah.
And that's the frightening power of it, because there's no end to what AI can do then, because once it's given the tools to work things out on its own, it can always self-perfect. And I mean, people have done crazy stuff. You can see posts on LinkedIn, people have put out stuff, the apps they've built, the games they've done, the pictures they've drawn, all using AI without barely lifting a finger. It's not quite as simple as they make out. I have been on ChatGPT, which is this open...
The biggest AI.
Biggest AI, and it's the most progressed as well in its technology. I today actually was writing an article, and I literally wrote a few sentences, took it, put it on ChatGPT and said, write this for me, write this better for me. And when they did, and it wasn't exactly correct, I wrote, but I wanted it more on, base it on this slant. And it goes, my apologies, and it writes, I saw someone on LinkedIn, someone in America had built a chat bot on WhatsApp, which used the same AI stuff. It's basically a WhatsApp connection, and you can ask anything you want. So I downloaded it. I mean, I basically connected to it, saved it on my phone, and I started chatting to it, and it was really frightening. It's almost like you're talking to a person, almost. At one point I was like, give me hope, yeah? It writes 15 lines of how, don't worry, life's going to be good. It's incredible. The potential is incredible on the one hand, right? And you can just see where all the different things, and people are worried all the different jobs it's going to take and whatever. Whether it will or won't, I don't know. But just imagine a world where it really gets serious. And let's say politicians are forever doing two things. They're talking and they're writing, right? But what they're actually doing on their day job, besides...
Not doing much.
Yeah, as it might be apparent by some. But what they're supposed to be doing is they're supposed to be making policy and creating laws and thinking about what's in the public interest. That's essentially what they're supposed to be doing. That's what government does.
Yeah.
Now, it's somewhat a bit frightening to think that maybe with AI developing at the speed that it is, will they start just putting AI in charge? Let the computer work out what the best policy might be.
It's like when you wrote your essay today, except we're getting it, instead of writing your essay, you're writing your new policy.
Yeah.
That's scary to think. That
I know. They did it on a radio show this week. They put it into ChatGPT, what would Labour Party manifesto be? And it came out with like 6 categories. So obviously nothing's perfect. It's AI, it's computer generated, but it's pretty close to what could be realistic, and it's a bit scary, to think about. Am I comfortable with the idea that people in charge won't be really in charge and they'll be relying on AI? I'm not so sure. But on the other hand, you can think of all the solutions it can solve and think of. Give it problems, it can solve things.
It's just about, it can be so good, but it can also be so bad.
Right. And that's always been the challenge, I think, for technology. And I've always wondered about this. Why is it that we're so quick to develop things technologically?
And so lag behind so much with restrictions.
Well, here we go. We don't have the safeguards in place before we do it.
Well, I think it's the government's fault for being so slow on their feet.
No,
you don't think so?
I don't think it's a government issue.
Really?
Well, whose responsibility is it, right? Mm-hmm. So as an example, let's just take an example of e-cigarettes, right? Yeah. So that's a very sort of basic technology. That's not AI or anything, but just as an example. So there's a huge, interest today, and especially in teens and kids in school still. Yeah. And apparently it's a bit of a crisis because there's higher levels of nicotine.
A lot of people in schools. Yeah.
There's a higher level of nicotine than is allowed, and it's all coming from China. And also, the plastic stuff, if anyone's worried about the environment, that's piling up as well. People aren't disposing of them properly. How do you dispose of them? I don't know. But anyway, now, who's supposed to have taken responsibility?
Government, like they've done for smoking.
No,
like
but smoking,
for whiskey, like they've done for everything else.
But it's all after the fact. So smoking became a huge problem, killed off people over the years. Then the government stepped in and pulled it back.
Yeah,
but that's still reaction. It's not proactive. And so you'll tell me the same thing with this, right? All we need is a few real decent stories of terrible accidents or whatever it might be.
I hope the government can think ahead.
So they are thinking now, but they're not really going to act properly until there's a need to act.
Exactly.
Right, but we're always chasing ourselves. Why can't it be that people are actually thinking in advance? Okay, we're going to introduce this, but the concerns are they're actually going to...
We've had Elon Musk one of the biggest tech people in the world, going around for the past few years saying how dangerous AI is.
Yeah, but I'm a bit suspicious of Elon Musk. I know you're a fan of him.
I'm a massive fan, but I know at the same time he has.
I'm a bit suspicious of him because
apparently he's one of the biggest, one of the founders of ChatGPT.
Is he? Yeah, he would be. No, but
and he's still telling everyone to be careful.
But Elon Musk is scared of other people taking attention away from him.
I'm sure he is. I'm not.
And if AI becomes bigger, well, who's going to care about his stuff anymore?
No
one's going to care about
know. I think personally, what I see Elon Musk is he's an extremely successful person. I'd love to learn a lot from him. But at the same time, all he loves. I think one of the things he loves. I think he's addicted to attention.
Yeah.
He's addicted to all that stuff, and that's dangerous, and that's one of the things that's probably ruining him.
Well, I'd agree with the attention bit, but I'd actually argue I don't think he's that successful.
Really? One of the richest people in the world. How can you say he's not that successful?
Yeah, he's lucky.
You're lucky.
He bought Twitter for 40.
You can't say he's lucky.
He bought Twitter.
No.
He bought Twitter for $40 billion. Okay?
Yeah.
Just the other week, it was valued at $20 billion.
Oh, come on. It goes down before it goes up. He's
very optimistic.
Yeah, he's making some big changes. That's what's going to happen. He's
just firing everyone.
No, but what he's changing is making it to a subscription model rather than an ad-based model, which changes that you can do what
Taking away all the safeguards.
You can do it. But I'm saying, forget about the safety part. He's a good businessman. Well, he's not really a businessman. He said he's more of a data scientist. He's a mad guy.
Yeah,
very mad.
Yeah,
but being different drives people to be really good.
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever seen anyone successful that's normal per se? No, not really.
Or a little bit mad. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, exactly. You have to be different. You have to be mad.
Eccentric. No, I hear that.
And he is hits the bar and above to be about being centric.
How do you see the future of AI? Do you think it's a positive thing that we're progressing in that direction?
I actually wrote a 7-page essay on social media because I do social media marketing. But I basically wrote there, and I was saying social media has so many advantages. I look at this more or less the same way I look at AI. Social media has so many advantages, and there's so many disadvantages. We just have to make sure we're restricting the bad and only utilising the good. Right now, where we're at with social media, I don't think we're restricting all the bad. We're doing a lot. Like, we've got a lot we're restricting, but there's still so much more that can be done. AI, we're not even at that place yet. We haven't restricted literally anything. Who knows what can happen?
So interestingly enough, if you go onto AI and try and do something inappropriate, I actually wrote.
I know.
It does no,
but that's for us end users. But I'm talking about using AI for private companies who can utilize their goal far beyond. Do you know what I mean? It's much further than us end users. We're just a pawn in this game. Do you know what I mean? I think it's more for private companies, how they can utilize AI to completely change everything. First of all, we're going to lose a lot of workers, but I think that's a separate point. I don't think that's really, I think we both agree that's totally not related. We don't know the statistics. But even like how people can utilize AI is dangerous, especially for people that don't want to use it in a good way. Like Vladimir Putin, imagine he got hands up one of the biggest, fastest, best AI systems in the world.
Well, actually, there was a I haven't watched it, but there was a film recently made of basically an attack, a cyber attack, where it became confusing as what was real and what was fake. And that is exactly the danger area that you're talking of here. But I don't know what the answer is. I mean, for Elon Musk to say, "Oh, just stop making it," it's not going to happen, is it? No. There was 1,000 people who signed that letter, I think.
They knew it wasn't going to make a difference. I'm not sure what they were trying to do. If he was just trying to get some attention for himself, or trying to promote API. I don't know what he was trying to do, but I don't think that's. I mean, that's just a new.
Can the government really control something like that? I mean, it's an invention. It's something people are sitting huddled around a table trying to do. Make some money from and make a difference to the world and. Let's say for the better. Who's going to, what, how does this work? There's no system, there's no centralized system in the world. What, the UN are going to put out a statement saying, please stop doing this? I mean, come on, it's not going to happen.
You've seen how the UN deals with...
They deal with wars extremely well, and they solve all the conflicts in the world. So surely, this would be a piece of cake.
They never solve anything. No, they do. Sometimes, maybe.
Dialogue.
Yeah, well, dialogue, yeah, sure. I mean, I think we've come to our answer, which is we have no clue.
Basically.
And personally, I think the best way is to proceed with caution, but to limit quite a lot of what we're doing now, just so that the government can catch up. Like, get someone in the government and say to someone, listen, you're in charge. You're going to have to be in charge of everything that happens in the AI. The AI systems fails, you're failing. But like, you have to be in charge of the AI, and you need to be. The government's slow. We're going to make you. Don't be like the government. Be ahead. Do you know what I mean? Someone who knows the AI, the whole AI thing really well, and he can make updated laws, and he can suggest to the government updated laws. Basically, have an AI minister or something like that, a digital technology
I think
minister.
that's quite a cool idea. I think you should email Keir Starmer and tell him about it for his next government.
Well, let me just send him a text.
All your contacts. But just on a serious note, to end off, we welcome feedback from our listeners as always, which we get, thank God. So if anyone wants to suggest something, please be in touch.
Thanks.